Well, well, well. I I don't really know what people were expecting, but what happens when trapping goes wrong and the public knows about it? I mean, this story, if it's true, it is hilarious. It is also worrisome. It is also worrisome, and I'm gonna talk about why. All right, so as I'm pretty sure you guys know, Mr. Jersey himself got caught in a situation. I'm gonna put some links to some. Shout out to BGS, O'Shea Duke Jackson, and them. A few people already, got into the story. And one of the things I want to talk about, which I will tie into something later, because I do have another broadcast coming up later about an even bigger problem, somewhat relating to this one. But how when people hear the stories about so and so having another baby or a baby by someone, that they just assume, oh, why these dudes out here, smashing these chicks without rubbers? Well, I kind of want to talk about how it's not just on the dude. There are nefarious individuals like the one in this case that do things that are way outside the norm. We are a species that has evolved where we've created society and we do engage in activities such as having sex outside of procreation, meaning we have sex without the intention of procreating. That's a thing that us as humans do. Some other animals do the same as well. Shout out to the dolphins. But we have sex without the intentions of procreating. Well, there's also the concept of, I always talk about that, every woman you deal with is a risk because I am aware of some of the shady, dirty tactics women use to try to benefit themselves. And one of the tactics they use is absolutely trying to have trap babies. The guy that they're with, who may or may not be trying to commit to them, but they want him for whatever reasons. A way that a woman can lock a guy down is by having his baby. Because she can't force a man to want to marry her, because mind you, the risk when it comes to sex, it heavily lies upon the woman after sex. The same way marriage, the risk for marriage, it heavily lies upon the man after marriage, usually. Because women tend to marry guys that make more than them, right? Well, in this case, how a woman can lock a guy down because she can't force him to marry her. She can try to get pregnant by him. Now, I try to educate guys, it ain't worth it. The risk it ain't Sometimes the risk is not worth the squeeze. Now, if you indulge in that activity, which I know most do, be smart about it. Don't only wrap up. One, do not believe anybody that says I'm on birth control. We don't need no condoms. Nope, not doing it because guess what? There's STDs. You don't want one of those either. Now this is me personally, mind you. You don't want one of those either. Not to mention women absolutely lie about being on birth control. I've heard some shady stuff that I am going to talk about it because it relates to this very topic. It also relates about a topic that I might do later on about how women treat their kids like pets. Now, when I tell guys, okay, if you're going to indulge in that behavior, always use a condom. Always have extra condoms and always know how to properly store and manage your condom supply. Condoms do go bad. I have had one break on me before. Actually, I believe I had two break on me. And immediately after they broke, I stopped what I was doing and I refreshed and put a new one on. Also, never take a condom from a woman. They do poke holes in them. I will tell you why. I know that. Always be responsible for your end of the bargain. And after you are done, this is one thing that people don't tell you. After you are done, it is not recommended that you flush the condom down a toilet, even though this is what probably a lot of you are familiar with. Actually, that is a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. It messes up this, the whole system or whatever. You're not supposed to flush the condom. Sometimes they'll put the sign on the thing, don't flush, non-paper stuff. So you're not supposed to flush it. It messes up the toilet and everything. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to tie it off and then you're supposed to throw it in the trash. But here's the thing. Women absolutely fish the condom out of the trash to impregnate themselves. Boom. That's the kicker. That's the kicker. That's what people don't tell you. This is what people don't tell you. This is why I said, like, when I talk about the women you deal with are a risk, it's not just, oh, I'm gonna be smart, I'm not gonna get her pregnant, etc., etc. No, she will nefariously do things intentionally to get her way outside of the norm. I mean, some guys are weaker than others, and I am aware that from what I know, most of the time when people have unprotected sex, guess who's asking for it most of the time? The women. Oh no, I'm clean. You don't need I'm on the pill. I'm on birth control. You don't need that. Ask me how I know. It's not just me. It's also the women in my life too. I talk to a lot of people. And yes, they'll let you know, oh, we don't need, I just thought, I just wanted to be closer to them. And, I was on the pill and I might have forgot to take the pill and yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whatever, whatever, whatever. Surprise, surprise, she pregnant. Always wrap up. Always. Unless you're trying to have a baby. They absolutely will lie. Same goes for you, ladies. It's recommended you be on birth control because there are a select group of dudes, usually on the lower end of the spectrum, whom do try to intentionally impregnate women. He might poke a hole in the condom as well. Oh, yeah. You got to look out for that too, ladies. But that's typically rarer because usually society holds them to a certain standard. If you can't afford to take care of that kid, they will lock your butt up. There ain't no welfare for a guy who's impregnated a woman outside of wedlock. No, ain't no welfare for you. You better take care of that. You better get your butt out there and work, or you're gonna be in the jail cell. Now the woman, on the other hand, is different. But the Pookies and the Ray Rays and the Man Mans at the bottom, they kind of just don't care. I talked about the roaches earlier. Those at the bottom of the barrel, they don't care. They really don't. Ask me how I know. Now, in this story, you had Mr. Drizzy himself had sexual relations with the model. He disposed of the condom like he was supposed to, but he had a little twist to it. Like if you guys are familiar with Breaking Bad, where I guess one of Jesse Pinkman, he was a character in the story. One of his things they used to cook the meth is he would put some sort of spice in the meth, and that used to be his signature. Well, Mr. Drizzy, he said he Drizzy with the fizzy. He said this my secret sauce right here. And allegedly he put some hot sauce in the condom after having sexual relationship. And my thing is, if he's up on some game, because mind you, I would usually recommend like some alcohol or Clorox, something strong to denature the DNA proteins and whatnot, and effectively you know render them useless, right? But if I'm not aware of a hot sauce that actually works that does that, and if he's up on some game with some hot sauce, he might need to you know, let us know what it is so that guys out here can protect themselves better. Because that, like, whenever I hear a story like this, like maybe even his first child, wink, wink, hint, hint, the reason why he was so skeptical as to why it might or might not have been his kid, even though a lot of people was like, "Oh, you should know whether or not it was your kid because you bust her down raw." Yeah, I kind of know a little too much. Where I'm like, yeah, he most likely didn't bust her down raw. She probably just went and fished the condom out the trash, like this lady tried, and then let's just say, see, he changed his method. He wisened up. See, usually smart guys, the guys that are actually worth a damn, see, usually when they make a mistake like this, and mind you, you're supposed to dispose of the condom in the trash, you can't predict whether or not she's gonna fish it out the trash, right? But see, smart guys, we adjust for this. We don't just keep making the same mistake over and over again. Which is why, similar to companies, why some of the dumb little rules they have, there's a reason why they have them. He's like, well, from now on, I'm going to sauce it down after action before I throw it in the trash. Drizzy with the fizzy. He said, I'm going to get down with the sauce before I dispose of my condoms. Because you don't flush it. You're supposed to throw it in the wastebasket, right? And now he's being sued. He's being sued by the model that tried to fish his condom out the trash and impregnate herself and got burned by the sauce. Now he's being sued. And now I'm kind of asking, was he wrong though? Like really, was he wrong? Like I know, got people, people with money, they get sued on they get sued like 2, 3 times a day just by just random people. Like, you walk by somebody, you don't say hey, and then next thing you know, you got a lawsuit for defamation or some crap. Like, people with money, they get sued on a regular basis, which is why they tend to keep an extensive legal team, right? Just to fight it off. I think I looked at an article or Bill Gates or somebody was talking about this, and he was like, he gets like 1,000 lawsuits a year or some crap like that, right? Just for a little dumb crap. You usually gets tossed under the rug, right? But in this situation, where he's being sued for saucing down his own sperm, and then she goes in there and fishes out and tries to, while he was asleep, allegedly, while he was asleep, she went in there while he was sleeping after doing the do and fished it out the trash and then proceeded to try to impregnate herself. Was he wrong for that? Absolutely not. He has every right to protect his seed. Which begs me to ask the question, why are some of these women having problems with this? Why is this surprising? And my thing, I mean, I'm pretty sure the case is going to get thrown out, but she had the nerve, the audacity to try to sue him for it. Really? Now, let me get into some of those stories that I was talking about earlier because let me just get to it. Okay, so this is what I've learned from, I want to say, middle school all the way up until pretty much now or college. Which is, there is this thing where I might have to make another topic on this, where modern women treat their kids like pets. Where I would see women in high school looking through a catalog of multicultural men, different races, and then making comments like, "Oh yeah, I want to have his baby, so my baby will have his eyes or his hair color or something." Like they're breeding animals or puppies or some crap. Looking through a catalog of different varieties of men, talking about, oh, I want to have his baby, so my baby will have that good hair, or my baby will have like green eyes, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And I remember hearing this, and shout out to Sim. What's good? What's good, my brother? And I remember having this conversation with well, not having a conversation, but listen, like I was overhearing this with some of the girls, black girls, of course, because I was in a predominantly black high school, and I just overheard them talking. And it was like, "Oh yeah, I want to have his baby because I want my baby to look like that. I want my baby to look like this." And I remember thinking this, in real time at the moment. I was like, "What kind of messed up crap is this? What kind of messed up thinking process is that?" And I was like, "No wonder, like, how some of these women that end up having these end up as single moms, that's how they end up because they literally plan this crap out." And yes, there is a fairly decent percentage of these single moms in the black community, and the father is not black. They do go outside of the race to have other men's babies. Of course, some of them use the tactics that I described earlier, trying to trap a dude. They'll fish the condom out the trash can, all that other stuff. They'll claim they're on birth control. They'll claim this and that. They'll persuade the guy to have sex with them without the condom, etc., etc. Yes, they'll do all that stuff, which is why I said what I said earlier. If you're going to indulge in this behavior, which I said from the start, every woman you deal with is a risk. If you're going to indulge in this, at least be smart about it. Now we got Drizzy with the fizzy. He learned from his first mistake, because mind you, if I know a kid is mine, if I know there's a good chance I busted down raw, I'ma know if the kid's mine. That's mine. It's mine. Now the dudes that go out here and do the testing, now it starts to kind of make a little bell go off in my mind, like, okay, so if a lot of these dudes, of course, in a situation like Drake, where they actually test their kid before confirming the kid is theirs, I wonder how many of these dudes actually got trapped. Which I already know, like a good deal of them did, because they fell for the dumb rule number one, which is they probably took a condom from a woman that she poked a hole in, or they believed her when she said she was on the pill, etc., etc. But in this situation, this is a little bit more advanced because he's at least smart enough to use the condom. But when he's incapacitated or asleep, she goes and fishes it out the trash can. I'm assuming usually unbeknownst to the man, because in this case, he was woken up by her screaming allegedly when he after he allegedly put the hot sauce in the condom. But and even in this situation, it's one of those cases where, okay, how many times when we hear stories about this, the so-called famous and rich people that actually test their children for paternity prior to accepting them as their children? Because mind you, I'm gonna know if I busted down raw. Okay, I kind of know I screwed up. I know it. But for the guys that was like, Hold on now, that can't possibly be my kid because I used the condom, I did everything right, etc., etc." Well, what they didn't know was after he left or whatever, she went and fished it out the damn trash can. And Drake, after his first happening, because he did have a child with someone that he did not plan to have a child with, he learned from his lesson. He learned from his lesson. I mean, he's still indulging in this somewhat risky behavior, but I mean, let's just be real. I mean, you got money, you got status, you're gonna live your life. By all means, indulge yourself. Just be smart about it. And that's exactly what he's doing. Drizzy with the fizzy. He said, "I'm gonna be smart about it at least." Because you don't flush, people. Remember, you're not supposed to flush. Even though that used to be the go-to, you just flush it. But you're not supposed to flush. But in Drake's case, he said, "I'm gonna use the hot sauce." I tended to, I was like, hey, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna try and use like some cleaning materials if they got some cleaning materials or something, because I know better than to just leave the condom in the trash because I know females absolutely will dig that bitch out the trash and do what she tried to do with it. I'm aware of this. Also, in addition to the women treating their kids like pets and breeding, I'm also aware of the women whom would have conversations on what they did or what they would do to intentionally try to trap their guy. There's a famous clip on YouTube. You can go look it up with the Wendy Williams. I'm I'm actually going to probably link it in the description. where one of the ladies, she's like, "Hey, I'm with this guy. I've been with him for 2 years or well, whatever. And he said we're supposed to be getting married. He hasn't married me yet. And I'm thinking about getting off my birth control and trapping him with a baby on public television, people." And guess what the women in the crowd did? They agreed. Go figure. Go figure. I'm gonna try see if I can link that in the description. But this is just an example of why I say and why I've always said that dealing with a woman in today's world is and will always be a risk. I'm gonna drop the link just in case anybody wants to call in. But that's why I say dealing with a woman anytime today is absolutely a risk. Do it at your own bite. Protect yourself, please. So if you didn't hear it before, rewind the tape, or I'll breeze through it right now. Step one: if you indulge in this behavior, just know you're going to take on the risk that you might be accused of something. Because mind you, Me Too still exists, so you might bust it down. I tended to record my activities. I like to keep I got a fairly extensive bank of videos that I keep on an independent hard drive. So if somebody tries to come back and be like, JoJo did something bad to me back in so and so, and I'll be like, you mean right here when yeah, spitters is quitters, remember? Nah, that wasn't JoJo. I got it on tape. My proof right here. She laughing and giggling and smiling while she do what she do. So yes, I would get it on tape. I would get it on video, and I put it on an independent hard drive. Because can't nobody hack into something that ain't connected to a computer, right? I might keep a few on my laptop, just saying, for safekeeping. But I absolutely did do that. Additionally, always wrap up with your own condoms. Do not take any condoms from nobody else. Because guess what I also heard? Women over, man. See, when you're quiet, you hear some stuff. Women talking about the most effective way to put a hole in the condom, and nobody can tell it's there. Yeah, I overheard the conversations. Sorry, ladies. See, when you're quiet, you actually hear some stuff. When you shut your mouth and listen to people around you. Oh yeah, they had the condom pack and everything. See, the thing is, they poked the hole through the condom pack, but there's a way. Maybe, oh man, let me not. There's a way you do it to where it's very hard to tell whether or not somebody poked a hole in the condom. And that's why if you go to your store, salute, salute for the billions. That's why when you go to the store, that's why they keep the condoms locked up in the box thingy, in the lock box, because they know from prior experience, people absolutely come and tamper with the condoms. So, yes, never take a condom from anybody else. You should get that thing straight out the lockbox yourself. You keep it stored somewhere privately that nobody knows about. And to be honest, you're even supposed to examine it before you put it on, if I'm just being honest. Because unless you keep that thing in a safe at your house or something, who's to say you might bring so and so over, and guess what she'll do when you sleeping? She'll fish through your drawers, find your box of condoms, and then she'll do her thing. She'll do her devilment to them. Or in some cases, it'd be your roommate. It'd be your roommate. He want to screw you over somehow. What's a better way of screwing over a dude than to get him one of the chicks he busting down, make him get her pregnant? Oh yeah, there's some nefarious people out here, people. I'm just saying. I'm just I'm just making y'all aware of the situations I've heard of, the situation oh man. I'm just letting y'all know. Be safe out here, please. And like Drake, you might mess up. Fool me once. You might mess up once. Yes, brothers do need their guards. I'm just saying. Protect yourself, please. But you might You might mess up once or twice. That's why, like, some of the guys that have one, they might have one, baby mama. I get it. She might have got you. I get it, guys. She might have got you. She might have said something. I get it. But like Drizzy, if you start having two, three, four baby mamas, okay, you didn't learn your lesson like Drizzy did. Because Drizzy said, never again. I done learned my lesson. He said, he said, never again. He said, I'm gonna hit her with the sauce. So don't be stupid out here, people. Don't do dumb shit. Be smart about it. If you wrap up faithfully. So till next time, I do have a follow up coming up later on today. I'm pretty sure y'all gonna like that. Getting to the bag is gonna be talking about the universal basic income thing. I dive into one of the companies and I talk about what I see, and it's actually interesting. It's actually pretty damn interesting, and I was pretty damn accurate too. Actually, I was accurate. So go check that out. It's actually gonna come out probably in about 2 hours. But till next time, folks.